Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to build an effective web app in 8 simple steps. Creating web application is not simple if you're not a full stack dev, but there exist tools that allow the creation of web application in a small amount of time. At the end of this video, you will be able to create your own apps. And no, you don't need to be an expert in JavaScript, HTML and CSS. After the intro, let's get started. So, how to build an effective web apps in 8 simple steps. Outline of this video. What is Streamlit and why to use Streamlit? Because Streamlit is the framework we are going to use for the creation of a web application. How to install Streamlit, an overview of components, layout and advanced functionalities, and the 8 steps to build the application, plus theming and customization. Let's move on. Streamlit is a Python framework, open source Python framework, you can use to develop simple but effective web apps. It provides a set of components that you can place on the pages of the applications, and these components range from titles to user inputs, data frames and graphs. Why you should use Streamlit? Because it's easy to use, easy to learn, you don't need any front-end experience, you just need to know Python, a very basic Python level is enough, and you can start immediately to create web application. Basically, you need only to write a very simple backend in plain Python using Streamlit specific function, and you are done, because you can test your application immediately and directly from the browser, or you can deploy this application using a single Python file. How to install Streamlit? It's very simple. You can have a look at the documentation. In a bit we will look at the documentation. Pip install Streamlit and Streamlit hello to test the installation. If you are using macOS, you need to install the Xcode command line tools. This is a simple overview of the main components. We have title, header, code blocks, data frames and table. We can display charts, we can use buttons, checkbox, and it's very simple because you only need to use these instruction to create and render the elements in the page. Streamlit provides also some advanced functionality that we won't cover in this video, but you can have a look from the documentation. There is a cache function to memorize function execution, either for long-time computing functions, for example, when you have to load or import a huge machine learning model, and the session state functionality that we will use actually in the demo, in the coding section in a bit, to store variables between different runs. Basically, we are adding a state to the application. Now, what are the 8 steps to build an application with Streamlit? First of all, we need to create a Python file with the preferred editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code. Then we need to import the Streamlit libraries and other libraries that we may need. Then we need to think about the design and the components of the app and about functionalities and performance issues. For example, we should consider to use cache, history and this kind of function. Then we need to write the code for the application, and at the end we can create a custom theme for the application. Then we can test the results in the browser. At the end we can deploy our application. So let's start with having a look at the official website. So this is the official Streamlit website. You have here lots of information, for example, how to get started, and you have a very simple demo. So you write the Python code. This is the Python code, this is the result. So you can simply load the data and create a line chart with a few lines of code. You have here all the information you need and some demo components. If you click on docs here, you will be redirected to this page. This is the official documentation, and inside the official documentation you have all the references and all the guides you need to proceed and create advanced web application. Now let's move on the code. In this case, I'm going to create an application that allows the user to create a watching list for movies. First of all, I'm going to import Streamlit requests because I'm going to download the poster for the movie given the title, and I will use an external service, an external API, so I need this library, and then pandas. We set up the page settings, so the name of the page in the browser. Top movies, very simple. st.setPageConfig page title top movies. Then I will set the history variable. So if history, the name history, is not in session state, create one. Then I want to import the data. In this case, I'm using a data set of movies that I downloaded from Kaggle, but you are free to use a different data set that contains movie names, titles. Then I'm defining a get movie poster function that basically perform a request to this service here, IMDb API, performs a request with my code for the API, my key for the API, my key. It's a free API, so you can easily create your own code without using this one. And here you put the title of the movie you want to get the poster. And I receive two elements here. So here is a function that you will define in the same way in any Python environment, in any Python file. So this is not strictly related to Streamlit. So this is plain Python. I'm getting two elements. One of these is the poster and the other is the plot of the film, of the movie. Then here I update the history. So if the length of the history is greater than 4, I will pop an element from the history, and then I will add the new element clicked by the user to the history. So in this way, I'm going to have a history of 0, 1, 2, 3 elements. So 4 elements for my history. Indexes starts from 0. Then here I'm defining some more templates, the layout of the page. So I have a sidebar which states this is a simple Streamlit application. You can select movies one by one from the input and create a watching list. I have the title, so simple watch list app, pick some movies and create your watching list. You see here that I'm using different sizes of text. This is a markdown notation. Then I have a select box, and so the user that is using the application with the select box can select the movie. There is a list of movie and the user can select a movie, and then once I read the title of the movie, I add the title to the history. Here I'm creating 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm defining a structure st.columns, 4 columns. And basically I am creating an image with st.image. I'm creating image, and with the function defined earlier, I get the poster of the movie, and I put the poster of the movie, in this case, in the column number 1. I do the same for all the 4 columns. So at the end, I will have 4 elements that are posters of the movies displayed as columns, one by the other. At the end, I wanted to show the data I'm using for the movies. So I create a line with markdown notation. I write the title, dataset, and with st.dataframe, I'm showing the data. So let's test this application. It's very simple. So we need to run Streamlit, run, and the name in this case is simple streamlit.py. We run this and it's open on my second screen, so I will drag here. This is the basic result of our application. We have a list. We can select the movie, so the first one is selected automatically. We can select a movie, for example this one, and the item will be added to our watching list. We can do the same with another one, and the item will be added to the watching list. And so on, we can keep adding, and items will be overwritten as we add item to the list. So this is a very simple example just to understand what you can do, what you simply can do with Streamlit. You can use Streamlit to showcase your machine learning models, to create simple demos, and so on. It's very simple to use. And this is the view of the dataset. So this is the dataset I use. As you can see here, these are the information that I used, and in particular the title. It's very, very simple and effective. Now, suppose you want to add a personal touch to this application. You can do that with a configuration file. So you can personalize your application with a configuration file. Let me show how. You need to create in the same folder of your Streamlit file, so your Python file for the application, a folder that is .streamlit. You can simply do that from the terminal. So let me stop here. You can simply do that from terminal with mkdir .streamlit, and you can create the folder like that in this way. I have the folder here. Inside this folder, Streamlit, you need to create a new file that is called config.toml. And here you can put a configuration like that, like this one. You have theme, because you are defining a theme. You can select the accent color, primary color. The name of the variable is primary color, is the accent color. The background color, the sidebar background color, the text color, and even the text font. Okay, so you can personalize these attributes. Now, if we run the application again, we will see a difference in the style. Okay, now the application has a complete different style, from the font to the color. And you can use this configuration file to give a personal touch to your final application. Because the default one is the dark theme, there is also light theme, and this possibility to further personalize. So I hope that with this tutorial you learned something about Streamlit, how in a few lines of code you can create a very simple but functioning web application. For all the doubts you may have, refer to the website, to the official documentation, or drop a comment below the video. Remember to subscribe and see you in the next one. Bye!